Good morning and welcome to the Rewind Show. It is the Sunday supplement, 282. I'm Steve Brown in my usual place. And over there, looking like it belongs behind a cocktail bar, is Brent Peters. Good morning.
I think it's called rushing around my bedroom and getting out.
What, getting dressed in the dark?
I can't be asked. It's one of them.
The Sunday can't be asked.
Sunday can't be asked, exactly.
How you doing, mate?
I'm all right. Anyway, before we start, we're happy wedding anniversary to you and Mrs. Brown. I'm in her bad books as well as you because I drag you out all over the globe, but that's the nature of the beast. I'm sorry, Mrs. Brown. But anyway, just enjoy your night last night, and I hope you enjoy your day today.
Well, yeah, we're going for fish and chips later on. Big spender that I am.
Yeah, well, there you go. Cod and chips. Where are you going to? Settle? I remember that Chippy and Settle. That used to be my dinner stop when I were on the vans up there. Cod and chips, Friday dinner.
Cracking Chippy. I don't know. I think we're going to go somewhere else, but yeah, we're going to pop out. But what kind of week you had, Brent?
Oh no, I knew you'd go and ask me this.
It's the first question off the block.
I can't believe it. Right, well, where's my week been like? Let me tell you. First of all, lost the services of Alex Mellor, Brady Boardman, and Mason Fallon, on top of Owen Whitehead. So that was not the best start to the week. And then, as you know, on Tuesday, we lose the services of goalkeeper Billy Blake. Who can stand losing all these quality players in 2 weeks of football? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we lose the services of Billy Blake. And the annoying part about that one, and I'm telling you now, these referees, I know we're getting on about referees here, but I'm sick of it. You know, when there's a referee, you've seen the video, when there's a referee stood there right on the spot, the trouble is these referees haven't played the game. And the referee against Steeton, he was right there. Billy's come out to head a ball and he's up in the air and the lads come and choke him from underneath. Now, if that's not a foul in anybody's book, it's not only a foul, it's reckless and it's a sending off.
Yeah.
Let's have it right.
Right? It was just disappointing that the referee was stood right in front of the situation. And how he's not seen that. There's no intention of going for the ball.
Exactly, and this is the annoying part. And then they wonder why managers get into trouble. And you know, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. There's no absolute. Listen, football is a contact sport. It can happen. You can have injuries in football, but you don't want injuries what can be preventable, where somebody's made absolute no intention of going for that ball. Right, no intention. The ball's in the air, so why is he going and he's thinking gone underneath him and lifted him? It's absolutely madness and absolute madness. But so then we lose the services of Billy, and there were 15 minutes left of that game. I'm not going to say that we would have won that game, but I'm telling you now, we certainly wouldn't have lost that game. But I'd like to think we might have won the game because we're ready to put Connor Morris on. Right, and you know what Connor Morris is like. You know, he's a technician. He's a very, very crafted player. You know, he might have got in. You know, the game can change with Connor Morris on the pitch. So who knows? But I know we would not have lost that game. That game had, in all fairness, I'll be honest with you, it did have one. You know, it had a draw written all over it. So. Yeah. That's how my week's gone up to then. Then I get told from the mole man on the pitch. In fact, I've just jumped over the fence now and I can see that there is still moles patrolling around the place because I've just had to run onto the pitch to stop the mower because the nets are still down from yesterday's Shadow Squad game. Can you believe this as well? I can't believe this result of the Shadow Squad. So the Shadow Squad played yesterday. They won the first week. They played yesterday with first teamers in it, right? Callum Hewitt were playing, Regan Jarrett were playing, Emmanuel Manny were playing, who else were playing? George, who's just come to the club, who's a very, very good, talented player, were playing. Owen Rothwell were playing. These lads all been around with the first team in pre-season.
Yeah.
Jacob, Ormrod were playing, just to name, well, that's half a team. Half a team have all been around the first team, and I can't believe it.
Go on.
They got beat 8-2. 8-2. And when I rang up, nobody ran from my phone. Alan travelled with me, and we were trying to find out what had gone on. And then eventually I find out what had gone on, and it just, nobody's got any answers. They're all scratching their head. They can't understand. I mean, the difficult thing is in that league is you only get a referee, you don't have linesmen. And from what I'm getting told, the amount of one-on-ones we had but missed, but the amount of one-on-ones they had but didn't miss. But why are they into one-on-one situations? I can only think that they're trying to hold a line, they're trying to play offside. Why would you even want to play offside when you've got, it's just, listen to me, I'm telling you, offsides, and I've said this blinking 10 years ago, never mind now, when you're trying to play offsides in this league, right, unless it's absolutely blatantly obvious in this league, when you've got blinking assistants that are away with the fairies, right, it's lazy defending. Just defend situations. Just defend it. Stop trying to play offside.
Don't put your life in the hands of a linesman.
Correct. Well, they have no linesman. So obviously, I think when I listen to the, how the goals have come and everything, I just think they were playing offsides, trying to play offsides, and it's just caught. And referees like on his own. He's not going to give it. He needs to play on, and anyway, it's ended up being a car crash. Well, that's embarrassing, really. So I just thought to throw that one in. But the mole man, going back to the mole man, he told me, well, the good news is, Brent, you haven't got 10 moles on there now, you've got 3. So we've never got to find the 3.
And that's easier said than done.
Well, I've seen one this morning, it's near the goals here, because I've seen it's fresh soil that's up. So
when it comes up next time, you've got to be there with a sledgehammer.
Well, he puts these traps down, but because games are coming now, we can't. And the thing is, he puts some traps down other week, and our friend Andrew Knights, who does a great job. He sliced them. He sliced the blinking where the traps are. So we strimmer to come through it. So we've got to try and get a window where he's got 48 hours where there's nothing happening on this pitch. So that's my week up to there. Then I'm sick of babysitting drivers at FedEx, all blinking, like footballers. If I'm not babysitting footballers, I'm babysitting drivers. So that's been a bit of a bloody piss take, excuse the French. And then on a serious note, I get told that the captain's sister's in hospital with a serious illness called sepsis. So, we wish her all the best and hope she's making I think she's at the other side of it, but it's a shock when you get told that you've got that situation. And our thoughts are going out with the Fallons at this worrying time, and we wish her all the best. And then I'm getting outrageous quote. Everybody's wanting the players wanted to go up on a coach to Selby. I was quite happy to go on a coach. But you know what? I'm getting outrageous quotes. £800, £790, cheapest coach could go into Selby. I'm not being funny. To go up to 62. It's absolutely madness. It's no wonder that football clubs that are having to travel all over the place are going out of business or are struggling when they've got to pay like that sort of money every week. So that's the reason why we'll touch on the coach travel in a bit in the show, but situations. I mean, one thing, as you know, I won't have. If it's a team coach, it's a team coach. It's for team. It's for the manager, coaches, and it's for like Burnley travelling. They don't have fans on the coach. Man United travel, don't have fans on the coach.
No.
Bury, no, we'll not say Bury because they're not a league club anymore. But Accrington Stanley don't have fans on the coach. I've been exactly the same. You don't want fans on the coach. Now, I know.
And I'm sure even Bury, John Hall's not going to have supporters on his coach.
Well, I wouldn't have thought so. You don't want fans on your coach for obvious reasons. It's no disrespect, but you don't. It's the players are the players. It's the players. It's the players' space. And let's not go into depth, but it is. It's I don't agree. And even then, yeah, it can cause problems because if a spectator is like voices his opinion at the game and upset with a player and he carries it on the court.
A few beers after the game,
so you don't want spectators. I won't have spectators on the coach. I mean, even when we have our own coach here, I've not let spectators come on it. Look, we heard a comment that came out about supporters. I thought we'd have been running the coach. Well, I'm not being funny and I'm not being disrespectful here, right? It's not my job to run a coach. I've got enough going on trying to run a football club without trying to run a coach for supporters. If supporters want a coach, get together and one of you organise it and get the money and sort it out and jump on.
We've done coaches in the last couple of years for the cup finals.
Of course we have.
And we've managed to get the numbers, but it's been a ball ache trying to get people on that coach.
Well, it is because, let's be honest, you go into Selby. I mean, I said to Alan yesterday when I was going up, I used to do this trip when I was at Doncaster every day. Every day I did that trip, apart from Thursday and Sunday. That were the only 2 days I didn't go up, right? And I did that trip every day. It's not, it were, basically, it were an hour and a half journey, right? And it's up the M62. Now, I'm not being funny. In all fairness, it's not, some people would go, even if you're running a coach, well, I think I'm going to take my missus and we'll make a day of it. We'll stop at a restaurant on the way back and have something to eat and all that. So they don't want to go on a coach. They'll make a day. In fact, I'll just say this while I'm on the subject. I have to give a big round of applause to our travelling fans yesterday. They were there in numbers. They swelled the gate. They were there in numbers, and in fact, there were a family that I have to, make a special mention to. I don't know her name. I've seen him in here. The lad in here, he speaks to me when but he's a big Rochdale supporter, and he spoke to me before. He spoke to me before the game, and they
all came down. Yeah,
they all caught all his family, and they caught the train. Yeah. They could have gone. He said, "I'd rather be up here than going down to Newport to watch Rochdale." And he said, "Anyway, I've looked on my phone," and he said, "We're getting beat already, 3-0." You know what I mean?
But great numbers and great to have people like that coming supporting us.
100%. So it's never easy. If I'm going to sort a coach out, I'm sorting a coach out for the team, right? Not for supporters. If supporters want to travel, fine. They all speak to each other at the game. Just get their heads together and say we're running a coach, and you have the responsibility. We've got enough responsibility here.
I saw a fantastic thing. I don't know if you saw it. It's on the wall outside at Selby, because we like to go to these grounds and they have good ideas, and I take pictures and we might steal the ideas. But they had a massive wall, Brent, and it was supporters club. And all the supporters' names are on this wall.
Right.
And I'm sure you've got to be, it must be 100 quid or something like per support. But there are about 50 or 60 supporters on that easily. Probably even more. And I thought, what a great idea. And if you want to have a supporters club who arrange travel for away games, plus giving money to the club in this way, I think it's a goer, isn't it? It's something we could maybe look upon.
Well, yeah, but you're right. I remember we played. I'm not sure if it weren't Crook Town one year in the Vase. Went up to Crook Town and we went and we had we had Blackburn Rovers team coach that day when we went up to Crook Town. It were available and we had it, and it was a fantastic coach. Everything on it, everything. Right, we went up, and the supporters arranged their own minibus. Well, there were two of them, I think. Two minibuses went up, and I remember it because, bless him, Edwin Crook.
Yeah,
we're on one of them, and he was our former president, so he didn't even travel on the team coach. He travelled on the supporters coach, and I remember we hadn't left because the players, but they'd left after the game. And they were in front of us, and their coach broke down. But because we hadn't left and we were behind them, You know, they're all sat on the coach, and the coach had to wait for recovery. And you know what it's like. You know, don't get me on that subject about RAC and recoveries. You know, they're a nightmare. But anyway, they were waiting for. So they'd rang somebody on our coach, and because we hadn't left, we diverted and went and picked them up. So because there were plenty of seats, you know, we got them on. And we got them. They come back. They travel back on the team coach because we weren't leaving them stranded up there, you know. But in reality, you know, what I'm trying to get at is they sorted their own coaches out, you know, mini buzzers out, and but because something went pear shaped with it while we were up there and we hadn't left, you know, they got on wheels and came back. Well, that's a good idea. But we listen. Even if we were going to run a court, but the prices were extortionate. Right, it were ridiculous. I could come, and it weren't just one place I tried several. I tried places in Burnley. I tried places in Rochdale. 3 places I tried in. They're all very, very much of a similarity. They were all round about 750 to 800 quid. That's the price, and I'm just thinking that is just like madness money, right? So I'd rather do what we did with the players. You know, we worked out how much it was going to cost, and we gave the players a bit extra, you know, for whoever took the car got the money, right? So they decided who the nominated driver were, and they'd pick lads up like, say, for instance, Jake Townsend, who's round like Bury area. I think he saw Aidan Lancaster, Ben Langley, Caden Barlow jumped in with him. But he got the money because he was driving it with his car, you know, and that's the same way with the others, and that's what we did. So that would have worked out a lot manageable and a lot cheaper, but it does have its repercussions, and it isn't ideal. And this is another thing when you're asking me about how my week went. So when I arrived at Selby yesterday on a nice, it weren't nice when we set off, it were all overcast, but when we got there, it were really nice. But when we got there, I get the bad news that one of my players has been involved in an accident, which is the last thing you want to know and hear about. We were all right, and he played the game, and he played like, he gave us every bit of ounce of flesh that he had, like all the others did, which were Ty Williams. But his car were a write-off, and we just watched his car. Luckily, it happened. Luckily, we're all right, and luckily, but his car's not all right. And his car. Ryan Russell reported to me that had happened. He were about 14 minutes away from the ground, and Ryan went and got him and picked him up, but obviously had to leave his car there. And we all tried to sort him out after the game. You know, his head had to be on the game, but you know that wouldn't have happened if we'd have been on a coach. Which is, I get it, and I get the.
I don't know what's happened to Brent there. Hopefully getting back after a short break. Well, back on, and hopefully got Brent back on as well. Just like that.
I don't know whether you have or not, have you?
You're freezing again on me, Brent. You want to go back out and come back in again? And as if by magic, he's back on. Have you paid for internet or what, mate?
I can't help with the technology, can I?
Must be with warm weather. But no, you're back on. What were we talking about?
So obviously we're talking about Tyre with the car crash. So it's not ideal because obviously these things can happen. And that's the beauty of all travelling together on a coach. And, you all arrive together. If the coach, God forbid, were in an accident, we'd all be in an accident. So, but listen, we said why, we can go into depth if you wanted about the coach situation. But this is why I invested in a coach before, because it's easier, it's cheaper, but we've gone out the Vase. So when you're in the Vase, a coach makes sense because in the next draw, you could be anywhere, in North East or anything. I mean, so, but when you're in your run-of-the-mill fixtures, I mean, we went through a period, it's a bit different now because we've got more Merseyside teams and we've even got teams world-based in now. But in the past, it got to a situation where it was mainly Greater Manchester. There were only an odd team in Liverpool that you played.
And most of your players are from Greater Manchester.
Yeah, so it made no sense to invest into a coach for the club. Maybe it's something I've got to look at, but there's that many things that's going on at the minute here that has to go on. We haven't even completed fully. We're still waiting for legalities on for the View. That even though we're trading and even though we've got events on and even though, but it's not fully.
No.
And we're waiting for our website to be completed. I mean, don't get me on that one either. You're asking me how many weeks gone, but don't get me on that one. The person that we got recommended to do the website, I'm not going to throw them under a bus or anything, but you have these situations. It's like, I'm going to get struck up for this, but it's something I have to say. If you employ a young girl, right, you're running the risk of that young girl getting pregnant and not being working. So you're staff down, right? So if you employ somebody to do your website and they've got kids and young kids, and it comes to school holidays and they're away on holiday because they've got a blinking summer retreat somewhere, then it's tools down. They're not doing anything. But that doesn't help us because I need to start promoting it. We're not promoting it, which we haven't even tried to promote it, yet we're still getting loads of enquiries. Yeah. But them enquiries are coming from word of mouth from other people. Yeah. But the frustrating part from me is I need to promote it because I want that phone non-stop. I need to have it non-stop. So that's frustrating. Then we get this notification now because we are a club where we all concrete barriers round. So I'll know more about that on the 25th. When's the 25th? Next week, is it? Yeah. So the 25th, they're coming up to me to do a ground grade and from Stadium Power. I
believe that the FA, I was reading into that last week, Brent, and there's millions of pounds funding for all the clubs who have those perimeter fences like us.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a company on to me already that works closely with them. So I'm hoping, I'll know more. I'm not counting my chickens. I'm hoping that we'll qualify for 100% grant on that. Because if we don't, we've got, we'll still have to find, if they're paying 75%, we've still got to find a percentage. And it's criminal because, we've just obviously done a lot of big investments here on the social side. So with that going on, that's a bit of a concern at the minute. Then we've got a concern with the floodlights because, the FA are pushing and wanting everybody to turn, the lights to LED. But even that, and we've been told by that were another thing that happened this week. He came down to do our lighting because our lighting certificates were up for, I think it runs out on the 2nd of September. And that were almost a car crash because we had it all sorted. It was on the same night we were playing Steeton, but that was the only night he can come down. And he's based in Middlesbrough, at Middlesbrough football ground, would you believe? He does all their lighting. So we were playing. So I had it all arranged. Everybody who were involved in it were all emailed and copied in. So everybody were copied in. Keys were going to be left. Billy Joe, Deborah's daughter, were going to let him in because obviously he's got to do this light test at night when it's dark. But would you believe when we got to Steeton, something was said about floodlights, and I mentioned keys, and they went, "Oh, I've not left the keys." So we were in Steeton. He's coming down from Middlesbrough. He can't get in. So thankfully, Billy George, if you're listening, thanks very much for all your efforts, because she had to get in a car and drive an hour to Steeton to get the keys to come back to let him in. Otherwise, he'd have been coming down from Middlesbrough and couldn't get in. So anyway, so we had that. But he's even said the same. You know, you've got to seriously think now within the next 2 years, changing them to LEDs. So that's another concern, because that's again money. I keep saying, I did an interview this week on Radio Lancashire, and he said, "What's it like running a club?" And I used the word horrendous. Well, it is. It's a cash cow.
Straight off the bat, that was Adam Cottier's first question. What's it like? Horrendous.
Well, it is, yeah. And then on top of that, so you've got that, and the next project, which you're always earmarked, is to sort this top end out and make this top end at the top of the view, make it into a disabled car park, an officials car park, and make it so that it links into
like a community centre vibe.
Like it links in at the top, and we've got to have that done. But again, we've got to get planning permission for that, because it affects the outer wall. So that's more cost. So there's a lot of cost, and then everybody wants, and this is what I'm saying, everybody wants your best team, and managers are under pressure. They want results and all that, but to get your best team and get your best players that'll take you up the leagues and the pyramids, they come in at a big cost, at a lot of money, and it's all right in saying, "Oh, you need this and you need that." We know what we need, but what we need and getting them is a different matter, because they want pain, and we lose people on because they've been offered. We've seen what's happened with Lewis.
Well, the price that have been knocked around in step 5 and 6 is scandalous.
Exactly, it's madness, and that's where you want your business development side to be really, really good and functioning. And unfortunately, sadly, and I'm not throwing again anybody under a bus here, but it's a car crash at the minute, and I don't understand why, because we've got everything to our fingertips. It just needs somebody to go out and visit the people, sit down, chat to them, and continue that. We've always had, the community, the business development side has always been. It's hard to do. It is hard. I'm not saying it isn't, but you can't. I keep saying it. You cannot do it from an office, from a desktop. You can't do it. It's delete. You've got to go, because everybody's after the same. You need to go out and sell the club and be face to face with people, and unfortunately, that's not operating as well as it should be, and that's frustrating the life out of me. Especially when it came to Friday this week, and that was my first week. I have to pay all the players' expenses and wages, and the contract players. It's ridiculous. So people. If you say that you love, people say they love Bacup Borough, and they do, and they're out there supporting us, and I appreciate all that. But there are some people, they start to question, well, why have we not done this? Why have we not done that? Why have we not had a coach? Why have we not had that? And I just think, take your blinkers off.
Yeah.
We're blinking, we're not Manchester United, we're not Burnley.
It's money everywhere you turn.
It's just everything's money, and we need to get money in. It's madness, and it's all. The answer to your question is how my week's gone. It started not great. We're losing players, and then obviously within a week we lose our goalkeeper. We lose that game, which I know for a fact we wouldn't lose. We wouldn't lose, and then it's come to yesterday, and we go out. Now I'm not really. Are you disappointed about going out the Vase? No, I'm not, because. One thing I say to the players before every Vase game, it's a great chance for any player at our level to be able to play at Wembley, but it's a lottery.
Yeah.
Because the chances of getting to Wembley, I know clubs have done it, I know you blinking Cones have done it in the past, and I know that Fleetwoods have done it, and Glossop and Warrington. But it's a tall order. But not only is it a tall order, but the thing is as well, what's good about the Vase, it's got prize money attached to it.
Yeah.
So it's money, so it's another income. But the bigger picture, surely, for Bacup Borough, is to try and progress up the pyramid.
Yeah.
Now, the Vase is a graveyard for that situation because, you know, I go back a long time, and I've seen successful sides. You know, one that springs to mind, jumps at me, is Curzon Ashton. When Gary Lowe, God rest his soul, were the manager of Curzon Ashton, they were successful. They were challenging for the league. They were up there. They were consistent. You know, Northwest Counties League challenging up at the top end. But equally, that team, the group of players that he had, and that team that he had, the squad that he had, you know, it were taking it into the Vase as well, and they were doing well in the Vase. So they had a run in the Vase. So every other week they were playing in the Vase. So the fixtures were going on the back burner.
It took its toll on the squad.
So it took its toll on the squad, and they missed out for several seasons. They missed out on promotion. And, you know, me having conversations with Gary, he used to say to me, he said, the blinking FA Vase is our graveyard. And eventually they did get the promotion, but it no surprise they got the promotion when they weren't in the FA Vase.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you said to me, are you disappointed that you got out of the FA Vase yesterday? I'm disappointed because we haven't got the prize money, because that's what I want, because money's vital to us.
Of course it is.
Right? But I'm not disappointed on the other hand because we've got a bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
And I can't look through a crystal ball. I don't know if the players are going to be consistent enough to take us where we want to be. But there's one thing to Stonewall certainty: by going out to the Vase, it's going to help us.
Yeah.
You know, it certainly will help us.
It's going to give the lads a rest time. They're not going to be travelling up to the northeast, and if you progress even further, you could be going down south to play some of them FA Vase games.
Yeah. And the thing, and the other thing is what you've got to think about is that I actually thought yesterday, if we'd have got into that game yesterday and we'd have been steamrolled and, you know, and we wouldn't have turned up, yeah, they'd been disappointed. They'd been like, not only disappointed, they'd been furious.
Yeah.
Especially when you know what my wage bill is, you know, collectively, you know, I'd have been furious, but that wasn't the case. It was, we were going into the unknown. You look how they started. They've started very, very well. You know, they're not conceding many goals, but they're scoring. And we were more than a match for that team yesterday. More than a match. It was, I think, it was spot on what you put on your Twitter feed at the end. The game of not many chances for both sides.
No.
You know, there weren't many chances because
both sides were cancelling each other out.
And it was a really good competitive game. And I honestly thought that the game was going to go to, you know,
penalties,
go to penalties. But again, if you ask me a question here, would you wanted it to go to penalties, or would you wanted it to be settled in the 90 minutes? I don't like penalties.
No,
you know, I just think that's a lottery. And then you're putting pressure on an individual, you know, on both sides. So at the end of the day, we got done with a sucker punch. And at the end of the day, that was a fine margin. Disappointed, yes. Lads are disappointed, but I'm not greatly disappointed because they've got to bounce back on. That's the one. Wednesday now. We kick on Wednesday and we kick on from that. And that's what we have to do. So, you know, I thought our pleased where they went about the job yesterday. I thought they did a really, really, you know, good job, and it could have gone either way. I mean, the simple fact is Conor Morris gets a great header. It's going in. It's going in bottom corner. The keeper's made a save.
Yeah, great agility from Wilton down to his left-hand side for that one.
Yeah,
He made a couple of decent. They had one in the first half from Caden Barlow. The keeper were backtracking, and somehow he's managed to get down to his left-hand side and tip it round post.
Yeah, he did. He did, and there's another one that Caden got early, and he hit that, and he did well with that one as well. I think, you know, on the day, I think both keepers. I mean, I think we've got to give a mention as well to Eric, you know, and again to Warrington Town, to my old partner,
Mark Canning,
and Warrington Town for loaning us, Joe Reggie and Harry for 2 games. You know, he came in full of confidence, good talker, good handler. You can tell, you know, he were alert. I thought in the first few seconds, I thought, frigging hell, what's going to happen here? Because he got the ball tangled up in his legs a little bit, but he got out of it. I mean, that would have been a disaster if he hadn't done, and he'd have scored there. But no, listen, he did admirably well, and but again, I don't think both keepers really. They didn't. You can't say there were loads of chances for them. There were loads. There weren't. You know,
two chances each.
There were nothing. It were one of them games. It were always going to be decided by an odd goal, and the sucker punch came. You know, from that save, we get a corner, and then the corner's cleared, and they broke on us. And I still maintain that if kind of Tom would have held the lad up and bought some time for everybody to get back into position, we may have defended it, but it's a decision-making situation. He went to try and win it, and as soon as he didn't win it, he was just through, and the lad made no mistake. He was one-on-one and finished it. Yeah. So it was just unfortunate. That's the way it goes. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Were I disappointed with the performance? No, I wasn't. I was delighted with the performance. Can we fine-tune it a little bit? Yeah, of course we can. There's always things to improve on. You know, I still maintain that whoever plays 7 and 11, and I keep saying it, they're not wingers. They're inside forwards, and they've got to get that in their head. They're not wingers. If they stand wide and in the channel, the fullback will be in the channel with them, right? And I'm not saying they'll easily mark them. It'll always be a nip and tuck situation. If a fullback, listen, those inside forwards, if a fullback attacks, it's the inside forward's job to defend them, because obviously who else is going to defend them? They've got to defend them when they're on the ball.
They're going to drag the players in with them.
Yeah, exactly. But equally, as soon as we get the ball and we win the ball, instead of staying deep and wanting to get involved with a link-up play, they should be bombing back on and take the blinking fullback with them, because then that fullback will come back with them, right? Now, if they stay in a wide position, right, the fullback will stay in a wide position, but I'm saying if they get nearer the centre forward, right, them two centre halves aren't going to be, they're going to be telling the fullbacks, get your asses in here, get your asses in. And that creates a space on the width for the fullbacks. And if we go back to yesterday's game, you know, and I've got to say this, I thought absolutely that's probably one of the only games, no matter who's played at fullbacks this season and even last season, I thought the 2 fullbacks we had in yesterday was different class from start to finish. Both of them.
I agree.
Both of them. I thought Bartholomew had an excellent debut.
For his first game, yeah.
For his first game, you know, coming in, not phased, did really, really well. Both defending and attacking. And I also thought Aidan Lancaster exactly the same. The reason why I went to, you know, when I give the man of the match at the end, I kind of edged towards Aidan Lancaster is because I felt that Aidan asked a few more questions in terms of when he had the ball and he was in the final third, he was asking more questions, right? Which is only natural because he's more experienced, right? But he was asking more questions. And also, if we remember and backtrack, there was a situation in the first half where they got in and he came in from nowhere.
Put his body right in front of their number 9.
And put his body in.
It back to Harry. Yeah.
And I think our players forget things like that.
Yeah.
You know, and not because I think they thought that probably Barty, I will give Barty the man of the match. He was close. It was between them both. But things like that are in my head, you know, and that was a certain goal. And he's read the situation and put his body in, right? And again, in the final third, he was asking a few more questions. So he kind of edged it over, you know, Bartholomew, but both of them were excellent, and they were up and down, and so it makes more sense when you've got two lads like that. You know, your 7 and 11s don't need to be in there because all they're doing is taking their space up.
You want them closer to your 9.
Yeah, and then there's another thing that I have to pick up on as well is when they're making the runs like that. I mean, there were one here in particular when Barty had made a run. Now, his midfield player, Ty, in this instance, we're on the ball. He's got to give him the ball. He's got to give him. If that fullback is coming and overlapping, you've got to slip him in. You cannot not slip him in, because if you don't slip him in, right, and you lose the ball, we're goose because he's out the game.
Yeah.
And that happened yesterday with Ty. He didn't give him the ball. You know, he came, and then Ty ended up losing it. You know, these are little things that the coaches have got to work with them on, and they are working and will work with them on, because I've been pleased with what I've seen. I've seen the drills that Alan's put on, and they've been really, really good, and they're trying to implement everything. They are trying, and I think in the first half, well, I don't think I know because they were there. In the first half, our link-up play at times was unbelievable. You know, we're linking really, really well and getting into the final third. Yeah. But what happened were a couple of times, well, on several occasions, we got into the final third, but our final ball, which is the most important ball, eluded us. Yeah. Because we either got the ball tangled in our feet, or it were bouncing up because we were taking extra touches because it was a really rock hard pitch, or rushing, or doing a one-touch layoff and it goes to them instead of going to one of our players. So everything looked good till we got to the final third, and then at times in the final third, we didn't find that.
I think it took us about 15 minutes to get into the game, Brent.
I think it does that all the time. It has done. Seems to have done this season. It seems to have. I don't know why that is. I mean, but again, you know, I heard Ryan Russell. He turned around to kind of Paul Shalobe before the game. Do not let the ball bounce. Yeah. And what happened in the first few minutes? Paul Shalobe let the ball bounce. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes it's like knocking a blinking nail into a stone.
Yeah, because that was not any pitch, but it was so hard. It's like a 4G surface. You can't afford to let the ball bounce.
No, and Ryan Russell, before they went out, made that point. You know, so listen, you know, these are only little things, minor things that we have to point out and adjust. You know, I don't really want to come on the show and start being negative, because the lads did really, really well and put an excellent as a team. You can see that you know what they're trying to do. You know, and I get sometimes that players turn around and, or should I say, spectators. You know, Caden's on it. You know, Caden's doing fantastically well.
For me, Brent, he's leading the charge when it comes to work rate.
Well, it's not just work rate; it's things that he's like he's not bothered about running the channels. But when he runs the channels, this is where the intelligence has got to come in from your 7 and an 11.
Yes.
If he's come out into the channels, the 7 and 11's got to go whichever's on which side. He's got to go inside and become in the middle. But what sometimes happens,
close enough to give Caden
an option to bounce off.
Exactly.
But what's happening is sometimes Caden will come out and run the channel, and the 7 or 11 will be in the same channel behind him. But instead of making a gut to go past him or alongside him, but make that forward run, it's only like in any other position.
And then one of the midfielders could bust a gut to latch onto like the end of the 18-yard box.
Yeah, they've got it. But if you think about it and look what sometimes happens, when our centre half steps in and goes forward with the ball, the coach that one of the midfield players drops back in because he's obviously taken their position.
Yeah.
So he drops back in just to cover while he's still got the ball. Equally, what's the difference then at the top end of the pitch? If the striker comes out into that area, the area that he's come in, again, the 7 or 11 goes in to where he's come from.
Yeah.
Not being around him in a wide area because they're happy with that.
Yeah.
They can defend that because
their centre halves are marking nobody.
They're out. We're not right. So this is where, but it's all about work rate and work rate and work rate, and it's hard work. But Caden is doing that work rate. I can't listen. It's no surprise when their manager was going off the pitch. He came to me at the end of the game. He probably said what he had to say to them on the pitch before they went to change, and then he shot off over towards the clubhouse. So he were obviously going. And he said to me, he come and shook my hand. He said it was a good game. There was nothing in it. Good game. And as he's got that part way across, he shouted back and he said, "And I love your number 9. Your number 9's quality." Well, he is, because he's the all-round number. If he just finish, if he gets the breaks and he finishes, but he was lucky not to finish yesterday.
He were. One of the first half that he bent just wide at keeper's post. That keeper weren't getting to that.
He's an handful. He's an handful for centre halves. He's a strong lad.
Yeah,
he's a strong lad, and he's an handful. And we've got to make things. We've got to be up there. In the main, I think we just, when things are like that said to me, like you mentioned it to me after the game yesterday, and I think when things are said, it's a valid point. I'm not saying it's not a valid point. It is a valid point, but I think. We've got to remember we aren't even the third week in. We're probably going into our third week now. No. So it's still work in progress. It's still work in progress, but we'll get there. We'll get there. But
it's all positive. It's all good.
Of course it is.
Yesterday's game, we're going into the unknown against Selby Town. As you said, they've had a great start. They've only had that one defeat. So they're no mugs.
Not at all. Not at all. And we went toe to toe. We give them a game. It could have gone either way. And
a great crowd.
And fantastic support and travelling support.
I found that picture, Brent. I managed to get it. This is it.
Oh, yeah,
that's the board.
Looks well, doesn't it? That.
Did you spot that? I thought it was fantastic. That's outside the clubhouse.
No, I didn't spot it.
And I'm saying 50, 60 names. I think there's more like 100 names on that.
Right.
But yeah, it's
well, it'll be all right. We'd probably fill something like that, but we need the dedicated person to do it, not linking say they're doing it and not do it.
Yeah, it'd be good. Anyway, let's move on. What else have we got? I know we didn't really go into the Steeton game as much. We mentioned Billy's injury and the way it came about, and then that Josh Coe, he likes to score against us. His dad came past me after the game. He said, "My son," he said, "you're always talking about my son on your show." He said, "He must have scored 5 or 6 against them already." But he must have done. He only scores against us.
I don't know. Listen, I'm not here. I'm going to be straight with me. I'm not here to give bouquets to an opposition player here in this instance. I've watched the bleeding video. I'm not being funny.
I watched
I'm
it
not.
as well.
I'm not being funny, and I'm being serious. You remember a player called Andy Lockhead?
Yes.
Well, you look like him, right? And what I'm going to say to you is this quite clearly. If you would have been on that pitch and had the space and the movement and frigging nobody marking you, right, you would have put that ball in the net. And I'm not being disrespectful, and I'm not taking anything away from him, right? But anybody that's not marked and not challenged and we've switched off, right, would score that goal. So I ain't giving him any credit whatsoever.
Yeah.
None, right? And the other thing is, which I'm not giving any credit, I'll give Lincoln, they put an early cross in, and I'm not being funny, we had two players there that could have stopped that cross.
Yeah, he's managed to get right. It's managed to get in between both of them. And
so watch the video. I don't need to mention any names. Watch the video, and there's a difference, I always say, between shiting and riving your ass. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of.
Well, I'm telling you, them players should get tighter and stop it and not saying, well, I'm goal side and the blinking lad can still shape a ball in. That's rubbish, right? And equally, which blinking centre half were picking him up at the time? Because nobody were picking him up.
Yeah.
So
and that second goal, Brent, it came so soon after Billy, and had to go off to hospital with concussion.
Well, listen. I'm not going to take anything away, Steve. Yeah, right. So there was nothing in that game. We've conceded off a set piece, so that's sacrilege to start with, right? The warm up were flat. I had a bit of a go at him about it yesterday, before yesterday's game. The warm up, apparently, I didn't see the warm up. I watched the warm up yesterday, but I didn't watch it at Steeton because there were things going on. Obviously, Mason Fallon had pulled out in the warm up. So they're chasing the referee around to say we have to make a late change. So I didn't really get a chance to see the warm-up or watching it. But my coach has said the warm-up were flat, right? Now, one thing I'm going to say about, and this is coming into my experiences, and it's no excuses, but I'm going to say it, right? In all the time, and I've had some, I go back mainly to the team we had at Rosendale United in 93, 94. Right, we had quality ex-professionals in that side. Ex-professionals, not somebody that's had a first-year pro, and got released before the second year.
Someone who's got like 200, 300, 400
league games.
Yeah,
correct. And we had a quality side. And I'll tell you now, on a Saturday, we'd play like a Rolls Royce. It was no surprise midweek, sometimes we'd play like a rusty mini minor.
Yeah.
Seriously. Because, and I don't know what it is, whether it's because they're rushing, they're finishing work, they've a lot on their minds, they're freaking, all the preparations all wrong, they're flying up to get to game, they have their own fine things that if you're not there on time, lads are going round collecting their money because they're getting fined for it. We're out the club. They do that on their own. And things like that. I'm not making excuses. I'm saying in 1993, 94, our performances were never the same midweek when they were as they were on a Saturday. On a Saturday, it was totally different. Midweek, I've just said it, like a rusty bag, like a load of bag of rusty nails.
Yeah.
Right? When we played Steeton the other night, we didn't start the best. That comes down to the warm-up. Whatever the prep, that comes down to the warm-up. We got done on a set piece, which is sacrilege. But we got back into the game, and as far as I was concerned, we got ourselves back into the game, right? And it was 1-1, and, no disrespect to Steeton, they were working hard. They were closing down and having a go. But I honestly thought, we were the team that were in the ascendancy, but they were defending well against us, and I didn't think there were, kind of many, there weren't any chances. And like I said, it got to the situation, last 15 minutes, put Connor on, let's see You know, like if he can unlock a door, because you know, the door were really being firmly shut to against us. There were no opportunities, not clear cut anyway. So you've got to give Steeton credit for that. You know, they were working hard. They were trying to build on a positive result they had on the week before, right? The last game. So they're working on that. But I didn't see it. Either team. I thought this is just going to fizzle out and it's going to be 1-1. As soon as we lose Billy, in hindsight, this is what I should have done. And I'll tell you what I should have done, and this is in hindsight, but eyesight's a wonderful thing. And if I'd have done this, what I'm saying, I'm going to tell you now, if I'd have done what I'm going to tell you, and we'd have still conceded 2 goals, because what were it, 1-1? No, did we 3? What did we concede? 3 goals, didn't we? We conceded 3 goals. So if we'd have conceded 3 goals and I'd have done what I'd have done, what I'm going to tell you I should have done.
Yeah, you'd have had pelters.
People have gone, has he lost his fucking plot? Has he lost the fucking plot? Fucking hell, But how it worked out and panned out, I'll tell you what I should have done, and I think it would have worked better for us. I should have said, Paul Shalobe, get the goalkeeping shirt on, but you're not playing as a goalkeeper.
No.
You're playing centre half. We're not playing with a goalkeeper. We'll play centre half. You're playing centre half, but you're the one that can drop in the box and handle it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that would have got us Connor higher up the pitch.
Where he's more effective.
Because he weren't effective in goal, and that's no disrespect to Connor. At least he didn't really want to go in.
We lost a player, actually.
We lost a player, exactly. We lost a player. So how it's worked out and how it's panned, and I'm obviously one thinking all the time, I thought, freaking hell, we shouldn't have done that. I should have done this, as it's worked out. But I'm telling you, if I'd have done that, and nobody knew what the score, and it were 1-1, and we'd have conceded 3 goals, they'd have all thought, all these, you know, he's lost his fucking Hambleton. What's he doing? Not putting a winning goalkeeper in. Well, I think that would have worked for us, because they would have been more effective at the top. It'd have been more effective. So what I should have done is give freaking Paul Shalobe the blinking goalkeeping shirt, and keep that back foot tight. And he drops in. He's the one that can handle it in the box because he's got the jersey on, but you're playing in the back 4, and we'll throw Connor higher up the pitch. Yeah. But we didn't. So the rest is history. So it's the first cross comes in. It were too early. We couldn't get into it. We were a bit unsettled. And because they knew that we hadn't got a keeper, they were doing things. I don't care what anybody says. They were doing things that they would not have done had we have had a keeper in, because they hadn't done it all game.
No.
But really, what blinking really peed me off more than anything, and this isn't a reflection on Roy, because Roy can't control this, right? Roy can't control it. He's the manager, he can't control this. But what annoyed me is this. We've lost our keeper, which was a blatant foul that the referee's not protected him or anything, and he stood right there, right? But when we started raining goals because we'd no goalkeeper in, there you thought them frigging half-wits who play for him had won the frigging bloody Champions League or something. Frigging hell, shut the fuck up. What the fuck you on? We've no goalkeeper in, your fucking half-wits.
Yeah.
You get me?
No compassion for Billy, who's fucking carried off to hospital.
Freaking idiots. Freaking we'll see what they're like when they come here. You know what I'm saying? And that's freaking disrespectful for me. And that's not against Roy, because Roy can't handle that situation. Right? But that's madness. Freaking have some freaking, you realise we've no bloody goalkeeper in.
No.
And they're freaking giving it all that. The big licks. Oh, see where they are at freaking end of the season, these freaking big licks and freaking doing that. And that really annoyed me and really peeved me off, because it's they've shown no respect whatsoever in that situation. Good luck to them. They've stolen, and I'm using that word, they haven't earned it, they've stolen 3 points. And I'm being serious. Stolen 3 points.
In a game that probably did have a draw written all over it.
I agree.
Yeah.
So really, that's all I want to say about it.
Yeah. Garstang Wednesday, Brent. You know, these games. It's a busy August, isn't it? You know, with the fixtures. I think August is probably our busiest month. 8 games.
Yeah, well, they come thick and fast, and that's how we got to do. I mean, it's last year we got rest, didn't we? Because the fixtures, because they start messing with fixtures, and then you go a couple of weeks where you don't play, and players start to blame it. We've got no momentum. We've lost our momentum that we had, and making excuses. Look, there's no excuses. You've got to be on it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to do my best with the squad, but it's getting very, very difficult at the minute. You know, when you lose, I tell you, you know, in 2 weeks, it's not like setting two, and they're not bits and niggles. You saw it yesterday. One thing I've got to say as well, and I think I need to mention this, it was great to see yesterday that I travelled up to support the lads. Alex Miller's there. I didn't get a chance to speak to him with everything that was going on, but Alex Miller's there with his mum and dad watching the game. Owen Whitehead had travelled up, who's out injured, who, you know, he's come to us as a new player that's come at the start of the season, you know, in pre-season. He was up supporting the lads and watching the game, which was fantastic. Mason Fallon and his family were up there watching the game again, which was fantastic. You know, these people, and they're not involved. They're not playing. You know, so it was great to see. You know, that's the togetherness that we've got. But you can't lose, you know, players of the quality that we've lost. And, you know, it's a good job we have got. I mean, like I said, Alan travelled with me yesterday, and on the way back we were talking and saying, you know, the quality that when you think about, we've lost 2 key we've lost 2 key left backs, but yet Barty's come in. So we're not
a bit of breath of fresh air,
and don't even look like we've missed him, because we haven't missed him. He's come in and he stepped into the breach yesterday and was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great to see, you know, and like you said, it were a toss up between him and Aidan for that man of the match.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Couple of comments. Our friend from Droylsden, John likes to, he's pictured there with Noel Gallagher. Morning, campers. Another good win for Droylsden yesterday. Back home Tuesday with fans for the first time this season.
Yeah, well,
the Isle of Man.
Well, John, you know what our thoughts are with that situation. And
how's Brent Spanner doing? I hope you're looking after it.
Why did you have to bring that up, man?
Proud of place it main stand there, Brent. How's it going, John? Let me know. Gary Walker with us. Morning, lads, from Garrett. And we have Terry, who tunes in from Australia, I think, does Terry. I don't know what he's on about there. A couple of comments. Oh, he put one there when you mentioned about women. Oh, wow. Standing on shaky ground with those comments. Sounds sexy.
Listen, Terry. Let me tell you, I said it between 2 women the other day. They had to duck under the table and dodge out. You know, but no, I don't listen. Listen, it is what it is.
It's tongue in cheek. Anything more to add, Brent? Oh, I'll tell you what we'll do. We had a couple of inquiries. I'm getting back in touch with Jason today. He's one of them. But we can't sell this enough. We have got 2 fantastic booths at the View. Match day experience. Fits up to 9 people. It's the ultimate VIP experience on match days at Bacup Borough. Drop us a line, get in touch. You can send us a DM on the social media. And now we've got the fixtures in place. You can book your place and, you know, we can have a chat and cater for your individual needs. Great experience, isn't it? You know, we've got 2 amazing booths.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, where else can you go? You can sit here if you want to sit here and watch the game. It's not the best, obviously, through the window. If you don't want to go out, but you can go out if you want. You've got your private booth. Whichever which way you sit, you're facing a TV. You're facing a TV, and if you sat that way, you're facing a TV. So you can watch Soccer Saturday in the privacy and complex of your own booth that fits. Let me just stress that you're hiring the booth, so you can have one person in it or up to 9 people in it. Yeah. So there you go.
And of course, when you get in touch with us, like you say, we can facilitate each individual needs. So we can talk about, the pricing structure when you get in touch with us.
That's right, Steve. Yeah.
Anything more to add, Brent? Shorter show today, but I think we've covered most bases, unless it's something which you've seen during the week which interests you.
No, I think we've covered everything that we need to cover, and just hopefully that we have a good turnout on Wednesday, and the lads repay the turnout, hopefully with a terrific performance and hopefully 3 points. But it will not be easy. They must not look at past results or anything like that. The bottom line is, every team that you go up against in the Northwest Counties League are always difficult games, and you've got to earn the right to win those games. So you can't rest on your laurels. You've got to be just back on it, be prepared right, recover right, prepare right, and go for it. And that's the story and the theme going ahead.
Brilliant show, Brent. I'll see you Wednesday, mate.
Top man. See you in a bit.